What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today's video, we are going to be talking about my guy, one of the unsung goats in DC Comics. Guy really has not gotten a lot of respect put on his name up until very recently. We still haven't seen much of this brother in DC Comics. And yes, that's right. I'm talking about none other than Jakeem Johnny Williams, aka Jakeem Thunder. That's right. We are going to break down this character, his origins, his powers, his history, all that good stuff right now. But first, wash your damn hands and let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple eyes. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Before we get started, if you want to see more awesome comic book videos like this one, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click.
Jakeem Johnny Williams, aka Jakeem Thunder, also known as JJ Thunder, made his first appearance in The Flash Volume 2, number 134 in 1998, and was created by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. JJ Williams is the companion of Yusei, otherwise known as the Thunderbolt that previously followed Johnny Thunder. Growing up with a single mom, Jakeem lost everything when his mom died of cancer. With his dad not even knowing he even existed and no other family left to turn to other than his aunt, he wound up living with her in Keystone City. This led to him becoming more mature than his age would suggest. His personality and heart also hardened thanks to living in the rougher parts of Keystone. It wasn't long before he met Jay Garrick, the original Recipe Flash, who gave him the Thunderbolt pin. That was the vessel housing Thunderbolt, the same pin used by the original JSA member Johnny Thunder. And from that day forward, Jakeem became Jakeem Thunder. One of the things that's going to be really interesting about this video is that I'm going to be talking a lot more about the limitations of Jakeem's powers, as opposed to what all he can do with them, because technically, Jakeem can do whatever he wants. It's just that the genies in the DC Comics universe do have some weird rules that limit some of the things that he's able to use their power for. Jakeem is not Thunderbolt's first wielder, as I mentioned earlier, as original Recipe Justice Society of America founder Johnny Thunder once wielded it, thus making Jakeem a legacy character. Jakeem's power is derived from the Thunderbolt pin. This grants Jakeem the power of Yusei, or once again, as he is otherwise known, Thunderbolt, who is a powerful genie capable of granting the wishes of their wielder. Anything they desire, boom, cut the check. Thunderbolt, a being from the 5th dimension, is similar to other characters like Mr. Mixel-Pitalik, or however you pronounce his damn name. Thunderbolt can also teleport and can even create hard light constructs. Thunderbolt can also fly, which Jakeem uses to great effect by holding on or surfing on the back of Thunderbolt. And thanks to the electrical nature of Thunderbolt's body, he can unleash electrical blasts that are incredibly powerful. As a result of this, he also maintains a rather appropriate weakness to water. Thunderbolt can also become invisible, something that Thunderbolt used to use when granting wishes for Johnny Thunder back in the day to make Johnny believe the power he wielded was due to his own ability or his own natural luck. There's only one caveat to Thunderbolt's incredible cosmic power. Jakeem must be very careful with how he words his wishes and commands, because Thunderbolt, like all other genies in the DC Comics universe, grant the wishes as literally as they are worded. Kind of like the gag in Disney's live-action Aladdin remake. If Jakeem wished for Thunderbolt to quotey fingers make him a prince, Thunderbolt will literally quotey fingers create an entirely whole new prince and present them before Jakeem. If Jakeem uses slang when making a wish, Thunderbolt will interpret it literally, not in the sense Jakeem meant. Now, the use of slang, some may say, oh, they're just doing it because he's black. No, that has nothing to do with it. This was also the same for the original Wielder, Johnny Thunder. The use of slang is made even more interesting when you realize that over time, Thunderbolt himself uses slang, especially after he meets Jakeem and adopts many of his speech patterns. So it means it's far less a matter of Thunderbolt understanding what he says and more just a rigid rule genies have to follow, whether they comprehend what's being asked of them or not. Another weird caveat on Thunderbolt's abilities is that he's also beholden to some other weird Jinn rules and laws. If he's in a country outside the United States, his orders must be spoken in the language of that country. Case in point, once upon a time ago, Johnny Thunder was in Cuba, and Thunderbolt would not grant any of Johnny's requests unless they were spoken in Spanish. This is something that I don't think has necessarily plagued Jakeem per se, but it is an interesting thing to take note of. Killing is also a big no-no. Thunderbolt cannot under any circumstances grant a wish or order that asks for the death of another person, though he can grant a wish that demands a person's spirit be brought back, but only for a brief amount of time. Interesting side note about dead people and wishes. Now, in regards to enacting wishes that would normally kill a regular person and using them against someone who is incredibly powerful, those Jakeem can get away with because it won't kill the person. So, like if he was fighting someone like the Spectre, he could literally tell Thunderbolt to fire enough electricity at the Spectre that would typically fry a normal person, but he could use it on the Spectre because it wouldn't kill him. Another interesting thing is that Johnny Thunder would summon Thunderbolt using the words "say you," which is Thunderbolt's true name, but backwards and, of course, in another language. So it comes out to be spelled YZ, which is how you would pronounce "you say." Later on in Jakeem's career, he encountered an evil genie and a rival of Thunderbolt's. Once they defeated this evil rival genie, Shazam helped Jakeem combine the two genies together, his Thunderbolt and this evil other genie, and they became this new form. And from that moment forward, instead of saying "say you" to control the new genie form, they used the term "so cool." Once upon a time, in JSA Classified number 28, we learn there is in fact a cause and effect nature to Thunderbolt's abilities due to the new 10th Age of Magic changing up the rules on the DC Comics universe to tame Thunderbolt's unlimited cosmic power, but not fix his itty-bitty living space situation. Jakeem learned this hard lesson after a neighborhood was demolished after a clash with some villains. He wanted to use his powers to fix the homes of the people who were affected by this attack, so that they wouldn't be homeless. But Green Lantern Alan Scott told him only mere hours later that after that good deed, the exact same number of people he helped wound up getting displaced from their homes too, but in a completely different area, all to preserve the balance. This issue was a formative one for Jakeem because it taught him a valuable lesson about using his powers willy-nilly. Despite this, he still tries to help as many people as he can, but even he had to heed Alan Scott's warning that you can't save everyone. And even if you could save everyone, even if you spent every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year for the rest of your life doing everything you can to save the world, the question no longer becomes, can you do it, but should you do it? We also learn that due to the nature of the new rules in the 10th Age of Magic, some things even a genie can't fix, like certain terminal illnesses. Another strange quirk of Jakeem's power comes up during JSA number 66, when Jakeem fakes his report card using the Thunderbolt's powers. His aunt immediately recognizes that it's a fake, mostly because Jakeem's teachers had already called her about him flunking classes, but also because the report card's ink was pink, much like the genie. Now, earlier I mentioned that Jakeem's father had no idea he existed. Now, that is true, and also it changed over time, because Jakeem did in fact eventually meet his biological father, a man named Phil. But by that time, Phil had already moved on, married, and had another son of his own. Jakeem never tells him who he really is, despite wanting to have Phil in his life, but he keeps it all secret because he doesn't want to upend Phil's new life. This is unique in comics because oftentimes the absentee father of a hero tends to be missing from the picture because they were a deadbeat and left the hero behind, much like in the case with Stargirl, who we'll also talk about here in just a minute. But in this case, Jakeem's mother was the one who bailed. Despite first appearing in a cameo in Flash Volume 2, number 134, his name wasn't revealed until JLA number 28. He also started his superhero career at the tender age of 15. He's a member of not just the JSA, but the JLA, the Young Justice, and the All-Star Squadron. Jakeem was really rough around the edges when he first joined the Justice Society of America. It would take the influence of Rick Tyler, who at the time was Our Man, becoming a brotherly-like figure to him, as well as Thunderbolt's original wielder, Johnny Thunder himself, acting as a mentor to help him acclimate to the team and soften his heart. Though it was actually Stargirl who ultimately got him on the right track after she heard him speak just a bit too grimy about Mr. Terrific. They hated each other at first, but became incredibly close with one another after a battle with Solomon Grundy where they were the only two there to stop him. One could even interpret that Jakeem had more than friends feelings for her. He also immediately clicked with Impulse when they first met, much to Jay Garrick's dismay because they were too much alike. In the DC universe, legend always stated that only the seventh son of a seventh son can wield the power of Thunderbolt. Oddly enough, Jakeem is not a seventh son of anything. He's an only child. Well, at least up until a point. When Thunderbolt and Johnny met for the first time, Thunderbolt actually drops an Aladdin reference telling Jakeem that he's never met a friend like him. Genies typically seem to have no problems serving the masters they serve. In fact, they rarely, if ever, and possibly never, seem to even want to be free. This is seen in Jakeem and Thunderbolt's relationship, specifically when Jakeem once lost his pen to Solomon Grundy. Jakeem wanted the pen back, but not because he wanted his powers back, but because he saw Thunderbolt as a friend and wanted to save him, a sentiment that Thunderbolt shared. Not unlike his predecessor, Jakeem had a knack for poorly wording out his wishes, often getting himself and the team into more trouble than it was worth. Case in point, in JSA number 32, this led to him accidentally curing Johnny's Alzheimer's disease. Ultimately, the entire battle against Solomon Grundy and Ultra Humanite led to Jakeem being taken over. Only problem was a side effect of getting control back led to Johnny dying instead. In JSA number 37, Jakeem tried to use a wish to resurrect Johnny, but this led to Johnny and Thunderbolt becoming one entity, Johnny Thunderbolt. During Infinite Crisis, Jakeem became a power-mad tyrant, thanks to Spectre transporting Jakeem inside of the Thunderbolt pin, which is basically the fifth dimension. And thanks to Quisp, another genie of sorts, and I'm probably butchering his name, and I do not care, Jakeem succumbs to their dark influence and loses his whole damn mind and has to be stopped by none other than Thunderbolt himself, as well as his family, the Thunderbolt family. Jakeem once had his throat cut by Mordru, but Jakeem would later hand Mordru a receipt, stabbing him in the throat with a Thunderbolt pin and channeling Thunderbolt's lightning straight to it. This is noteworthy for no other reason than the fact that when Jakeem asked Thunderbolt to get rid of Mordru, it's the first time he ever asked Thunderbolt to do anything while also saying please. Despite being a mainstay in New Earth continuity, and for those who are uninitiated, that is the time between Crisis on Infinite Earths and Flashpoint, roughly 1986 to 2011, Jakeem didn't make his Prime Earth first appearance, which is any time after Flashpoint, until Doomsday Clock number 12 in 2020. When it comes to media appearances, Jakeem himself doesn't really have many, if any. However, he is referenced by name in the Stargirl episode Wildcat, when Mike, Stargirl's younger stepbrother, asks if a friend can come over. This friend he mentions by name is Jakeem, meaning he's already there in Blue Valley. Another interesting nod to both himself and Thunderbolt is that the pin housing Thunderbolt is seen on multiple occasions throughout the show's first season so far, and has had many a long camera shot left on it, teasing that his appearance on the show is not far away at all. Now, when it comes to these videos, I usually like to pick an actor I feel can portray this character on the big or small screen. This one was pretty easy for me because I'm picking Tyrell Jackson Williams, who some of you may know from the TV show Lab Rats. He's also been on Nobodies, Brockmire, and Failure to Launch, but also he'll be on the upcoming Netflix original movie, Thunder Force, alongside Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. I feel like Tyrell has actually played characters like Jakeem, or at least in some similar fashion. Maybe not exactly, but I kind of feel like, yeah, this guy could really pull this off. I mean, yeah, he is a little bit older, and honestly, if we're doing this, it would probably more likely he'd show up on the Stargirl TV show, and if he did, I actually wouldn't mind this guy getting the nod for this. I mean, hell, when you think about it, Brett Basinger is 21 years old, and yes, she's playing a version of Stargirl who is probably roughly around the ages of 16 or 17 years old. I can very easily see this guy coming in and literally just immediately picking up the ball and running with Jakeem Thunder. Now, Jakeem's recommended reading, I'm not going to lie to you, it's all over the place. However, I will say, if you want to get the most concentrated dose of Jakeem Thunder, the best place to go is the JSA Volume 1 series from 2000-2001. He features in a lot of those issues. I would dare say the majority of them starting from JSA number 19 on up until the series end. I would also highly recommend Justice Society of America Volume 3, issues 12 through 26. He features in a lot of those as well. And you can also, of course, find him in JLA Volume 1, issues number 26 through 31, and I believe issue number 41. Those are the best places to get the most concentrated dose, I believe, of Jakeem Thunder. But anyways, Jakeem Thunder, a really cool character that I just feel like, man, I hope they do something with this guy going forward, especially since he just got brought back into Prime Earth continuity in the DC Comics universe. So hopefully we'll see more of him. And maybe one day, since we got Stargirl, maybe we will see him on the show, since, basically the whole premise of Stargirl is that they're rebuilding the JSA using its legacy character members. And so far, so good. The show is great and has done a really good job, in my opinion, of depicting these characters. So, I mean, we already know that she has the Thunderbolt pin, so it's only a matter of time before we see this kid on the show. So I'm excited for it. I'm hyped for it. I can't wait to see more of this character and hopefully see his name reach those neon lights, that upper echelon, that top tier in comic book characters. And like I said, just one of those things. I really like this character. I think he had some issues when he was first introduced. I felt like he wasn't written as well as he probably should have been, but as the character kind of went along, he definitely grew and changed and became a character I could really get behind. But anyways, let me know what you think about Jakeem Thunder. Were you already aware of who he was, or are you today years old finding out about him? Wash your damn hands and sound off in the comments. So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in a buck, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus ultra.